All right, let's jump right into this practical, no-fluff explainer designed specifically for San Diego homeowners. We're talking about the illusion of security that comes from failing window locks. Seriously, if you're sitting there thinking your ground floor windows are locked tight right now, well, you might actually want to double-check them after we're done here. We're going to break down exactly what is happening to the hardware around your home.
Here is our diagnostic guide for today. First, we'll look at the signs of a failing lock. 2, we'll cover the San Diego hardware curse. 3, common window lock types. 4, how to choose between a locksmith and a window company. And 5, your home's overall perimeter security.
Now, think about this staggering number for a second. 49.6%. That is the share of homes in the city of San Diego that were built before 1978. That's literally half the city. And a massive chunk of that older housing stock, it still has its original aluminum frame windows. I mean, the locks on those frames were built to last for decades, and well, they've already been asked to do exactly that. They're tired, and honestly, they're failing.
Moving on to Section 1, signs of a failing lock and spotting that illusion of security.
You know, a window lock rarely just completely breaks all at once. It wears down really slowly over time. If your ground floor bedroom window has, say, a gritty lever or a spinning latch, sure, it might click, but it isn't actually securing the sash. You might even find yourself having to literally lean your entire body weight into the window frame just to get the cam to engage. Or maybe you're seeing this visible white or green corrosion crusting up on the metal. Or hey, maybe your window still rattles in its track even when the lock officially says it's locked. Listen, any single one of these means the hardware isn't just cosmetically worn out, it is failing. And a window that looks locked but actually isn't, yeah, that doesn't protect anything.
Which brings us to Section 2, the San Diego hardware curse, and why our county is just so tough on locks.
So why do these failures happen so incredibly often in our specific neck of the woods? Well, for older inland neighborhoods, places like North Park, Normal Heights, or South Park, the main culprit is simply age. Those original stamped steel crescent locks, they were never actually designed to have individual parts replaced. Once the internal spring weakens or the cam rounds off from literally decades of use, the whole lock unit usually just needs to be yanked out and completely replaced.
But what about coastal homes? If you're out in Pacific Beach, La Jolla, Ocean Beach, or Coronado, your major factor is the salt air. It's a totally different ballgame. That salt-laden humidity carries fine salt particles that settle straight into any exposed metal joint. It aggressively, and I mean aggressively, eats away at the steel cams and pins, and it oxidizes the aluminum frames right around the mounting screws. Actually, window locks sit even more exposed to the elements than your front door deadbolt does, so they corrode surprisingly fast on the coast.
Knowing what's actively destroying your lock naturally leads us to a really critical question, and honestly, figuring this out can save you a completely wasted service fee. Do you just need a quick lock swap, or are you actually looking at a massive structural window replacement?
Let's figure that out in Section 3, common window lock types, and identifying exactly what's on your frame.
Because here's the thing, not every failing lock gets fixed the exact same way. San Diego has this really unique mix of hardware. You're going to see crescent locks all over the place. These are the most common ones on sliding aluminum windows from the 60s through the 80s. That's just a rotating lever that pulls a hook. Then you've got pin locks where a metal pin drops right into a drilled hole down in the track. Now, if you live in one of our historic districts, you probably have sash locks on those older wood-frame double-hung windows. And finally, there are keyed window locks, which are an awesome security upgrade that actually requires a key to open from the inside. Whether you've got standard crescent locks on a slider or sash locks in a historic district, identifying your exact type is absolutely crucial to help professionals source the correct matching replacement.
All right, Section 4, locksmith versus window company, making the right call for treatment.
Knowing exactly which side of this boundary your problem falls on is easily the most valuable step you can take today. I mean, it completely determines who you need to call, and it saves you the massive headache of having the wrong professional show up at your front door.
Okay, so when do you call a locksmith? You want them for direct hardware swaps when the lock mechanism itself is failing, but the rest of the window is totally intact. If you have stripped internal cams that are causing the latch to just spin and spin without catching the strike plate, or if you've got a bent strike plate or a corroded pin lock housing, listen, that is a pure hardware issue. A locksmith handles the lock and its immediate mounting hardware. And the best part? They usually do this straightforward swap right in place without even having to remove the window. However, and this is a big however, a locksmith cannot help you if your glass is cracked or if the sash won't slide at all. Those are structural issues, and they require a window company or a glazier. Think about things like a bent or warped frame, crushed tracks, or a window that absolutely refuses to budge regardless of what the lock is doing. Those are totally outside a locksmith's scope. The golden rule to remember here is this. A lock that won't catch is usually hardware, but a window that won't slide, regardless of the lock, usually isn't.
Let's look at the big picture in Section 5, your home's perimeter security and securing those weak spots.
You really have to start viewing your window locks not just as individual little pieces of metal, but as integral, vital parts of your home's overall defense. Ground floor and easily reached windows, especially those right near a patio, a side yard, or a garage roofline, are super well-documented residential entry points. A corroded or loose lock on a patio-adjacent window is exactly the kind of vulnerability that gets tested first by an intruder. So staying on top of these hardware repairs is absolutely critical for your actual peace of mind.
A secure window lock only matters as part of the whole perimeter. That hits the nail on the head, doesn't it? This is exactly why you might want to use a window repair service call to have a professional evaluate your main entry deadbolts or your sliding glass door locks at the exact same time. Remember, sliding glass door hardware wears down the exact same way for the exact same coastal reasons we talked about earlier. It's just a natural, smart moment to do a broader security pass while the pro is already standing right there on site.
So, I'm going to leave you with this provocative thought to help you evaluate your own home. Seriously, go walk your perimeter later today. Test those latches. Do they actually catch, or are they just spinning? Are you being protected by a solid piece of metal, or just an illusion of security? Taking just a few minutes to check could literally make all the difference. Thank you so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will definitely catch you on the next one.